apologize for having to reschedule last time.
No, yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. And last time though, it was a blessing in disguise with that too, because with you rescheduling, I actually had a opportunity and I was able to open up my third location and sign the lease last Saturday because we had to reschedule.
Well, there you go. That's awesome. And I saw that as I was doing a little bit of homework, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a funny story though before we start. When I first started talking to you, for some reason I'd written down your last name as Goll without the R, and so I started Googling this Shawn Groll person, like adding friends on Facebook, and I was like, these people. Once I realized what I had done wrong, I was like, man, these people are like, who is this weirdo asking me to be friends on Facebook?
That's funny.
So how do I say your last name?
It's Groll.
Just like Dave Grohl, right?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to read something from your bio on your website that stood out to me real quick. It says my long-term goal is to change people and lead them into a healthier life. Short-term goal is to have people break old habits, change their mind, and most importantly, focus on themselves. I really, really like that. I think a lot of times, especially in fitness, we as coaches we get caught up in like wanting to focus everything on physical appearance and all that kind of stuff, or the weight on the scale. When if we can just focus on like things like habits and stuff like that to help people, make small changes to get where they want to be. I think that's very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It starts small and it leads to the big impacts.
Right.
The smaller little stepping stones help for the greater achievements, and we always try to focus on the little things to make the big things count.
That's awesome. I love it. And so let's talk a little bit about where you are right now. So are you in Chicago, Illinois, or the Chicago area?
Yeah, right outside the suburbs.
Okay. And you own a company called Strive for Fitness?
Yes.
And those are gyms, basically. Tell me a little bit about that business.
Yeah, so it's they're fitness studios. So we do classes and personal training. With the classes, they're 30, 45, 60-minute fat burning programs. And then we also, around our class schedule, we have personal and group training. A lot of the group trainings are pretty cool because it's usually the significant other doing the programs with them. So it's kind of funny that you see a little, bickering sometimes going on between them and who's pushing who and whatnot. So those are our main focus that we have.
That's awesome. So where did this all begin? I mean, have you always been into fitness, or I think I saw that you lost some weight initially, and that's what got you into the fitness space?
Yeah. So believe it or not, I fell into place of the fitness. So when I was 15, about 18, I worked at McDonald's. So never worked out, was out of shape, eating the burgers, fries, you're always around there. So you're constantly hungry. So I was probably around 254 pounds. And everyone there made a bet who could lose the most weight. And I was like, all right, I'm competitive. I've always been competitive. So it was 30 days. I ended up losing I didn't know about the scale or anything then too. So I probably lost 22 to 26 pounds. And I just felt really good about myself. And that just snowballed from there of getting into my fitness journey.
So this is funny. This is all McDonald's employees making a competition to lose weight.
Oh yeah. So it was definitely, we put, I think it was like $50 in a pot each, and there might've been 15, 20 people or so. And I was 18 at the time. So that was a lot of money. So I had a really good end goal to try to win that money. And, it was just something to test myself. And I won the pot. And then after winning though, a lot of people, it was funny. Oh, you're just going to gain the weight back that you won? Are you just going to go have fun and eat out wherever? And I was like, no, it's the first time for a long time I felt good about myself. I was more energized, doing things around the house more. So I was just kept continuing, just how good I felt.
So what were you just running, or how did you decide you were going to lose weight? Did you just change your diet, or?
Yeah, so again, not knowing a thing about fitness or even nutrition at the time, I just started running outside, and what I did was I ran in one direction, so I went one way, so that way I wasn't looping around the block. All right, I'm tired, had to go back home, so no, I went one way. That way, whether I had to walk back home or run, I just had to make sure, I'm going one distance one way, one distance back. As far as nutrition, I cut out the soda that I was having there, the fries, the burgers. I was eating salads, but I was loading up with cheese, kind of like helping me out. And that was actually the first time I had a salad. I was very picky eater, eating burgers and the fries, even at home, so it just stuck with me. And so I was cleaning up my act, so to speak, with the nutrition. And that's what kind of, when you're younger too, your metabolism, everything's much higher. So to help drop 10 pounds within a week, and the rest was there.
So what's the journey like from, you lost an inch of weight and I think I want to make a living out of fitness?
So the journey with that, so when I was 19, so after I lost the weight and everything too, my dad had passed away. So the way I really progressed into the fitness was I used that outlet to work out every day. So I did 2 to 3 hours of strength training at night. Still didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was probably bouncing around from machine to machine, working out at a gym. And then from there, just feeling really good, like in more confidence in myself, fitting in clothes differently, things like that too. And so how I got into the fitness part was I wanted to work at a gym, and there was an opening that was kind of near my house, and they had a full staff because I guess they were pulling people from other places. But I was like, no, this has to be it. This has to be the place I need to be. I went there every day, asked them for a job, not too much though, but talking to them, shooting the shit with them, and they end up taking me on board. So I started off as a front desk person and then worked myself up. And then once I started getting the knowledge and experience, being in there a little bit longer too, learning off of other personal trainers, I ended up getting certified, and that's where I kind of took my journey to.
What kind of, when you say you got certified, what kind of certification did you get?
So the biggest talk at that gym, and the whole base model was off of NASM, the National Academy of Sports and Medicine. So that's the one that I went with. And from there, I was also going to school at the same time too. So I was going to Morton, which is a community school. Got a business management degree there. And then, which I thought I was going to transfer it to like a UIC or something too. But I just fell in love with the fitness and helping people and things like that too. So I just kept going full force, and I ended up working like 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week.
At the same,
all in.
At the same place you were working the front desk, you just escalated up to doing personal training, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So with personal training, then I was also the manager. Then then I was assistant general manager, and then because how much hours I was working and putting in, they decided me to split me up at 2 different locations. So then I was working at 2 different locations, and whatever time they needed me there, I was like, I'm there, because they were open from 5 a.m. to 11 at night. No matter what, I was there. So if I had a gap hour between 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., that was my gap hour. The rest of the time, I kid you not, I was working. I was like a slave, but I just loved it so much. I just, like very passionate, just went straight in with it.
Oh, so are you married or have kids or anything like that?
Yeah, so I got married a couple of years ago, and we just had our first kid the end of last year, and of all days, he landed on Christmas Day.
Ah, congratulations. So you're working at the gym, and what point did you go, okay, I think I want to open my own gym?
I think it was the point where I wanted more. I think I always had a really good drive. So with me trying to ask to do more for them as far as like nutrition, do outside programs, do classes, they didn't have that. So then back in my mind, I felt like I was getting shut down, but that wasn't their philosophy and that wasn't their style yet.
Sure.
And so that's when, to me, I was just like, all right, I need to do something. And then I just began telling people one day, I was like, I want to open up my own gym. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then it just all fell into play.
Well, how did that work? How did that work? Is Strive for Fitness, is that something that you came up with? Is that something that you bought into, or how did that go?
Yeah, so how that fell into play. So it was very funny. So one of my clients had called me out of the blue. I was like, oh, they're calling me. I thought something happened, maybe a workout, whatever. And they're like, well, what you talked about earlier, my husband and I are in. I'm like, what are you talking about? So they were looking up to open up a franchise and everything like that. And long story short, we ended up doing partnership and we opened up a gym. And then, but after 18 months, again, another long story short, they end up selling the place, even though I thought that was my future. I thought I was going to be partners with them, work myself up, things like that too. So like everything that we put in, gone. So
Oh,
like it just gave me that step to, I was like, you know what? I can't work for anyone anymore. I'm going to do it. So I went running around like the local neighborhood and I stood in between those locations that I was at. So right in the middle of our stomping grounds, I was like, all right, this is the place. Let's do it. Bought the name. I went running and I was like, what am I striving for? I'm like, that's the name, striving for fitness. That's how I just
okay,
really came up with it. It
nice.
just came to my mind.
So how long ago was that?
So it was in the end of September of 2016,
Okay. I'm
and
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to work out if you were married at this time, like when you got married and when you were going through all this.
I was engaged at that time when that had happened,
Uh-huh.
and my fiance at the time, she just told me, she's like, you know what you're doing. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. So I had a very good supporter from the get.
Very
Um,
nice.
and I actually at the gyms that I was at, I actually hired her at the gym. So that just kind of happened as well. So that fell into play as well, and we always like telling this story. We didn't get along in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
We kind of bumped heads and things like that too, but that's like who we were at the time. And she needed help one day with her car. And I was there for her with one of my friends. We helped, and she's like, hey, you want to hang out? And then the rest was history from that part.
Awesome. So you've just found yourself a building basically and rented some space and
Yeah.
what kind of gym what does it look like on the inside? Like what kind of equipment did you just buy treadmills? Did you buy machines?
So we stood away from treadmills. We stood away from machines. So within transition of like leaving from that one gym to going to open up the other one, um, I was in a gap period. So one of my clients at the time, she let me use the first floor of her house. So with that, I was doing personal training out of there. I was doing classes out of there. I was doing boot camps out of there. So the whole first floor I was using, it was empty. It was an empty house. So I was doing all the classes and everything like that out of there.
And that
So
was your
that's where I
first
got my, huh?
that was your first location?
No, so this is how the first location had started because of the
Okay.
idea of like space wise and things like that. The space that we had, you'll probably, I don't know, not have heard of this, but it was only 595 square feet. So
Wow.
everything was on the wall. So like even like our pull up and bench machine, it was those foldable ones that collapse into the wall. We would pull out. So we fit only about 8 to 10 people in there, and we utilized every single inch you can think of in there for what we were doing, and that kind of snowballed into like where we are now. Because after 6 weeks of that one, I opened up the second one, and I was like, you know what? We had a good following. Mostly all of our clientele over the years came on through. They all followed us over. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go all in. We opened up that second one 6 weeks later. And after 1 year, we expanded both locations to about 3 times the size.
Wow. So how many people are we talking about at each location?
So right now we're over 200 members, about close to 225, 240
Total or at each location?
total.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
And so um tell me about do you do all the operations yourself, like the daily operations? You're just running the whole thing. How does it work for you?
So it's myself. My wife also works with me, and then we have 8 other instructors. So the instructors, so we don't have a front desk, we don't have a manager, we don't have anything like that. So the instructors are the manager. When they're there, it's their show. So There's me, my wife, and then 8 other people. So there's a total of 10 people that are divided up with the locations.
And so you are in charge of, you just have to manage all those people and who's going to be where at what time, or do the trainers get their own clients and bring them in, or how does that work?
A little bit of both, with the trainers bringing some in, but we do a lot of things through social media, word of mouth, things like that. But yeah, it's mostly myself going out there, talking to other business owners around the town, getting flyers out. We try to do events as much as possible. We'll go live on Facebook too, do a lot of promotions, just anything to get people in the door. So we're always trying to evolve and innovate to find different ways and strategies of getting people, non-members, through the door, whether it's buddy passes or bring a friend with you for a week type thing. We're always looking to give back, because without the members, we would not be where we are today.
Right on. So tell me, it can't all have been easy. So tell me about some of the challenges that you've faced going through all this.
Yeah, so opening the first location, because of size, it was a breeze. The second one too. So when we expanded the first location, we literally just moved across the street. Um, the hardest part was the town with, it, I felt like they were abusing their power in a certain way of, trying to delegate and piggyback expenses onto the building that did not need to be done. So like, when we ask certain questions to inspectors of, why did this need to be here? Why does this need to be done? We're just saying, because we told you so. So to me, I'm like, duh, duh, red flag. So they didn't think that we would look up the laws, look up the rules and everything that's, if they adopted it or didn't adopt it. So we looked into it. We had a sit down meeting with the whole town and everything like that, with the village managers, things like that. And we won our case. But that was like an ongoing battle for like 6 weeks that was almost going to hold us up. And in time of running out of our other lease and to transition into this one, that was one of the hardest things ever. So like, you can't be a yes man with, people telling you do this because I said so. You have to question things and, like find out the answers. You got to dig and do the research too, because it's all there. It's just of you doing it, applying it, and standing up for the things that you believe in.
It's
So I
such a
think that was the hardest challenge,
it's such
fighting
a
the whole town.
yeah, it's such a sticky thing sometimes when you're
For
trying to
sure.
work with all these rules, and especially if you don't know any of the rules, it's so easy to get caught in, somebody all of a sudden comes along and says, well, you got to build a $5,000 handicap ramp,
Oh yeah.
and you're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
well, I didn't even realize that I had to have one of those,
Yeah.
and if you don't, if you may or may not have one, if you don't know, or you'll, you know how you may not ever know.
Yeah, exactly.
um
It's this. You just got to do that research too and find out. If they're creating expenses on you, whether it's $100 or more. I mean, to me, if you're spending money on a building, you have to find out. You got to do the research.
Well, where do you see this going? Have you expanded online or anything like that? What's your dream goal for Strive for Fitness?
So first, it was to build up the two that I currently have, and then now it was like the opportunity that I had last week. We just opened up the third location. My instructors, they're hungry for more hours, more training clients. They're seeing the bigger picture of really helping other people out. And half of our instructors, another good story is they were once members, and they've all have success stories. Whether if someone had, they were in a bar life before, fighting depression, overcoming something, that's things like that too. They went and got certified, and I told them if they're going to take the initiative and jump and go get certified, that's who we want to bring on, because other people have seen their story, they've seen them work out, and they're just an inspiration. So now it's just building up the three. And people told me like, oh, 2 months ago you said you weren't going to do a third one, and then now here I am doing another one. So it's like I'm always trying to change, evolve, trying to be, like very creative with everything that's going on. So the future to me is limitless. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward, if we can keep growing, keep evolving, and keep expanding. I don't know. Maybe we'll do more, or maybe we'll build within. But there's just so much potential out there. I don't think that we really touched on a lot yet.
Mhm. So do you send them for that? Did you say NASM?
So NASM is one. Yeah, is the thing that myself I have, Victoria has, one other trainer has as well. But sometimes with the classes that we have, like yoga, so the girl, she went and got yoga certified. So it just
Hmm.
depends on the class type and things like that. But if they're doing personal training as well too, we do follow the 5 phases of our yoga or NASM, and then it depends on what they're doing of their certification, what they get in.
What kind of nutrition um, stuff do you do? Like, what's your go-to? Like, when if I'm come to you and I go, okay, well, I work at McDonald's and I eat McDonald's all the time. How does it look? How does your nutrition coaching look?
Yeah, so with my certification, I've also became a fitness nutrition specialist. I got that through NASM as well.
Hmm.
So what we try to preach and tell people, it's a lifestyle. We don't believe in quick fixes. We don't want, like, these. I saw one of your posts about the MLMs and things like that. Not to throw that up right now,
Right.
but I really love that because I'm big on not supporting that. Just want to throw that out there.
Well, do you
But
get well? I'll just as an aside there.
yeah,
I'm an owner at a CrossFit gym, and that's always been one of my pet peeves.
yeah,
And because they're just relentless, and as soon as they find out that you own a gym,
oh yeah.
I mean, they get their claws in, and they just don't let go. Is that something that you've experienced as well?
Numerous times, numerous times. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't believe in making money off of other people in that way, like of, oh yeah, buy this, and tell your friends do that. I'm like, no, it's never.
Yes. So at any rate, so more about your nutrition coaching.
Yeah. So yeah, back to that. So then yeah, so with my nutrition thing, so it's more lifestyle. So if you're coming for me, you're saying, hey, I work at McDonald's, I want to change my habits. First thing we're gonna do is try to break those little habits. So we'll start cutting back slowly. It's progression. So we have a lot of various membership options and things like that too. So if they're committing for say 12 months or so, then we'll do the slow stepping stones and everything, cutting back, whether it's soda, whatever their bad habit is, if it's just breads, pastas, whatever. As they start changing, if they're going to start getting results and they're actually listening and applying that, then we start going over the macronutrients and things like that too. I'm very big on the caveman food. So if it wasn't food 100 years ago, it's not food today. I always try to tell people avoid the inside aisles because it's all corporate and gimmick, and it's just, to me, it's Wall Street just feeding the pockets and everything like that. Stay on the outside. You get your fish, chicken, steak, all your fresh fruits and vegetables. That's the best way to go.
I love it. Yeah, that's very similar to when I started. I have similar story to yours in that I was just eating bad, and when I first started, that's what my very similar advice that I got, and it came from Precision Nutrition. Have you heard of them? That's
Precision, yeah.
Dr. John Berardi, I think is his name. But yeah, that's the big thing. Like just small little changes and stay on the outside of aisles. Don't go on the inside and eat the cereal and all that kind of stuff. So
Exactly. Because I was once there. I was doing it for more than half of my life already too. So I know like the little changes you have to make. It's hard. It's hard if you've grown up on that lifestyle and it's been being fed into the school systems and everything like that too. It's hard to break those habits.
yeah, for sure. I like to talk to people like yourself that have successful businesses, but I like to hear what their daily routine is like. So you do you do this pretty much the same routine every day? What does a normal Monday look like to you, for instance?
So my class schedule stays the same, but my personal training schedule varies all the time. So I could be training as early 6:37 in the morning, and then typically I'll have my little gap, just like a lot of studios or gyms do, 1 to 3 or so, 1 to 4. With that too, I'll do like some emails, calls, go around to businesses, trying to talk to people. Um, my truck is fully wrapped around with our logo and our gorilla that we have too, so I'll go drive around like the local neighborhoods too, just acting crazy sometimes. Depends how energetic I am, honking on the horn too, just waving to people. It gets attention. And then I'm back to training again at night as well, from 4 to about 8:30. And then by the time I get home and everything too, I like to, obviously take care of myself. So I'll get my workout in the middle of the day with classes or with my clients and things like that. So I'll go in our Zen room, just kind of relax. And I'm actually in here right now with these nice, cool blue walls. So yeah, I like to just chill because, like, obviously training all day long and doing classes, it's a lot on your mind because it's always go, 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 go. You got to be on, you got to be lit, you got to be, 110%. So when I come home, I like to unwind. And then once in a while, my wife and I will just throw in a movie, just something mindless, entertainment, comedy, something like that too, just to kind of unwind. And then pay attention with my son and everything too. Sometimes he'll come to the studio with me while I have him strapped to the front of my chest, and people just love him. So, I mean, who doesn't love babies, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what about personal goals? I saw you're going for a 500-pound deadlift. I saw a
Yes.
picture of you doing 455 pounds.
Yes.
So that's something you're going after. What else? What kind of personal goals do you have for yourself?
So yeah, the deadlift is one. I actually just started heavy deadlifting in November, and I was probably at 315, and now I just increased it to the 455. But I always try to come up with something crazy, something different. Like a couple years ago, I always try to break myself, not just physically but mentally. I did my own burpee 5K. The burpee, jump forward for the 3.14 miles.
No way.
Yeah, that was insane. It was and that was a spontaneous moment too, because it was a Sunday. Our plans got canceled. I was just like, I'm gonna go do this burpee 5K. I saw it on someone's shirt, and I didn't realize. I guess you do it with a team, and I ended up doing it myself. So yeah.
How long did that take you?
4.5 hours, and I did it around my house. So people thought I was, of course, crazy or crazier than I am. So yeah, doing it around the house outside. We counted the laps. We timed it out. I remember, you can't forget something like that. It was 62 laps going around. And
Wow.
yeah, so it was probably like 2,800 or 3,200 burpees. We tried to do a calculation how many burpees one way and back, and then multiplied it. So yeah, I always try to find something. And like last year, October, what I did was I did a 20-mile run, but within the 20 miles, every 5 miles, I did like 30 minutes of spin, go run another 5 miles, all consecutively, come back. I did the Spartan 300 with the kettlebells, run another 5 miles. Then I did about 300 reps of just plyo, just like push-ups, squats, things like that, and then finish for the 20 miles. So I was trying to find something to break me, and I'm still figuring it out now, whether it's to do like a marathon earlier on in this year or to do something, I don't know, out of the normality. So I don't know yet, but it's going to happen because I do it like 2 times a year.
Wow. Some of the pictures on your Facebook page are beautiful pictures in the mountains. I was going to ask you where that was. Is that anywhere close to where you live, or
No, so
are
we
you just on?
travel to go to all these mountains too. That's just one thing that like all of our vacations have been hiking. Like I love accomplishments. It's a great feeling when you get to the top of the summit and just get to unwind a little bit. Depends on what mountains you're probably seeing. The one I sent in a photo, I know that was so that one on the photo, I thought we were at the top in the summit of our Mount Whitney, and I turned my head off to the side after taking a photo. I was so excited. It says Mount Whitney, 1 more mile. Sounds like nothing, but when you're hiking these mountains, it's like, oh shit.
Oh
That
yeah.
1 more mile was another 90 minutes, 2 hours or so. I mean, it got very brutal going up there. And coming from the flatlands of Chicago, it's brutal. But yeah, we enjoy that stuff too. We've done Half Dome. Smoky Mountains is one of our favorite when we go east. It's just a nice light hike, 2-3 hours here and there. But yeah, we love to go hiking and be very adventurous outdoors. And the most important thing with that for us is there's no signal. So it's a good way to disconnect from the world and just focus on ourselves and kind of rejuvenate.
Right on. You should try one of the ultra marathons somewhere. I'm sure there's one in one at one of those mountains.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Those are a lot of fun.
I've done one, but it was a 50K.
Okay.
And that was the same time as everything, as I was opening the first studio and everything too. Everything was going on. I'm like, and I ran twice in September, and it was like the first day or two in October. I'm like, do I go run this? I only ran twice, and I ended up doing it just over 5 hours. I was just like, my mind, everything was focused. I was like, all right, I did it. It was a good accomplishment.
Good deal. What about I like to share books with people. So do you have any books that you would recommend or books that have really made an impact on you?
Yeah, so the only book that I mean, you know, not to make excuses, but I haven't really been able to read too much lately. There's probably a couple books. Gary V. I read
Oh yeah.
Crunch It, about probably three-fourths of it, and then another one was Taming the Tiger Within. I forget the author to that one, but that one. So after when I had said about my dad passing away, I was very angry at the world. Everything was going on, and then that book stuck with me since then. I've had it over 10 years now. But what had helped with that book, it got me into doing martial arts, and I did some MMA for a little while, and that was just an outlet. Like people don't realize the art into it. They
Hmm.
see the fighting or what's being displayed on TV and things like that. So that book kind of helped. It was basically your seed of anger. You keep watering your seed, it's going to make you, angrier and angrier, but more how you can tame it, you're not going to grow that seed. So doing the martial arts was an awesome outlet. And obviously fitness, the weights, running to me, the first 3 miles sucked, but after I make it past 3 miles, I could just go on cruise control and just keep going.
You mentioned about your dad passing away. It's amazing to see how fitness is therapy for people.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I guess you see it a lot as a coach or as a owner of as an owner of a gym. But I guess every day people probably don't see it as much as we do. But it's all over the place. People, you know, addicts that are breaking an addiction just switch over to fitness. People grief, just switch over and use that fitness as a way to just cope with what's going on, and it's amazing how much it helps.
Oh yeah, definitely. It helped me so much too, because I don't know where I'd be if I didn't find fitness. So everything happens for a reason. It's timing, timing, timing. If it wasn't for that McDonald's thing, and then for my dad to pass away after that, and if I was out of shape, I don't know where I'd be. Maybe I'd probably have a heart attack by now, the way I was going.
Yeah, and also you were talking about your trainers that were formerly clients. Like that's a huge impact that you may or may not think about on the daily basis, but if it wasn't for you and your business, those people, where would they be? Now all of a sudden they're like making a career shift. Even they change their lives with fitness, and then they start becoming a trainer, and now all of a sudden everything's different for them. So
Exactly. They're leading better lives. Some of them's gotten promotions at their jobs. They're more confident, things like that too. So it's amazing. I always wonder, I'm like, who's next? Like it could be the person next to me this whole time that I don't know of, which it was before. Like who's next? Who's ready to take that leap? So it's awesome. It's great. I
yeah.
still get goosebumps to this day of those stories and then the classes that we do and things like that too. So it's a great feeling and accomplishment.
Well, it's very impressive that you've been able to open all these gyms and make them successful. There are a lot of people out there that would love to be in your situation. What do you tell somebody that comes up to you and goes, "Man, I think I want to open a gym." Like what advice do you have? What's the like give them three things. Say, "Okay, do this, don't do that."
Yeah, so I think it goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier. Don't be a yes man. So like you have to push forward. You have to believe in yourself. So belief will always override the crowd of disbelief. So if you believe in yourself enough, you're going to have that passion and drive to do what you want to do. And if you listen to other people, that's just the first step that's going to bring you down. So you have to move forward. Don't be the yes man. And I think it just it all entails with who you are. You have to be who you are. If you're not being yourself, I think you might set yourself up for failure. You have to be yourself. You have to believe in what you're doing in order to succeed. Because if you don't believe in it, why bother?
Yeah. Authenticity is very, very important. I totally
Absolutely.
agree with that. Well, I am not going to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you talking to me. This has been a great conversation.
Of
Uh,
course, it's been awesome.
Plug
I
anything?
appreciate your time.
Yeah. Do you want to talk? Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to tell people about before we go?
Well, if you guys are watching or listening, we're out in Strive Fitness, Brookfield, Riverside, and then now we're opening up one in Chicago. And we actually got approved after 6 days, so that one was like a breeze. So we were kind of happy with that. So we're doing soft openings, things like that, and we're going to be officially opened in Chicago on April 1st, 2019.
Well, right on, man. That's awesome. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for talking to me.